Okay, I'm just going to do a quick video. I've been texting some of my mates, I've been getting messages, and I've had a few comments on one or two videos. I'm calling for Darren Moore's head and this sort of, and do I rate him and everything else. I do have huge question marks about Darren Moore's ability to motivate the squad, and also there's some tactical issues in terms of the formation and the style of play, which I'll come to later. But the first thing I want to talk about, and I might end up making this a short video and doing some separate ones, is the injuries. We've had the pasting by Sunderland, where we defended incredibly badly, as well as they played. And we've just had the defeat by Shrewsbury Town. But if you look at the players who are out injured at the moment, and it is a horrific list, I think you've got to add that into the mix in the last two performances and how that's affected us, because Shrewsbury Town have put the same team out 3 games on the spin. Sunderland have put the same team out twice. They're on a great run, and they've got that consistency. When you're chopping and changing, you don't get that consistency. It's something we've pulled Darren Moore about before. But in terms of the injuries, it is something that he can't help. He's having to make those changes, and it does affect the cohesion of the side. So we'll just have a quick look at the players we've currently got out. So these are the players who are currently missing in action. Mira Shadipo, hamstring injury. Jay Dunkley, hamstring. Dominic Iofa, long-term hip injury. Lewis Gibson, another long-term one, muscular injury. Matt Luongo, obviously suspended for the last 3 games. Josh Windass, probably our best striker, he's out with a strain after missing a longer period. Jack Hunt missed the game yesterday with an unknown reason. That could be COVID or that could be a knock as well. Jaden Brown also missed that. And Florian Kamberi, centre forward, is another miss. So that's 9 players unavailable for selection against Shrewsbury, and probably 8 of those unavailable against Sunderland. Now the thing is, these aren't just squad players, they are players who would be in and around that first 11, 12, 13, whatever you want to call it. Big players for the club, first team players for the club. If you look at transposing some of those and saying, well, all clubs have injuries, but how many of them would actually make the first 11? Well, actually, I think probably quite a lot of them would. So it is a possible first 11, and I think if we look at it, I think you can make cases for all those players coming in and making us a better side. We'll look at the back 3 for a start. It's great to have Hutchinson back, but he's been out for 3 months himself. He's not fully up to speed, but he's been a huge miss. Dunkley's currently out. Player of the month, Dunkley, by the way. I mean, he's been a one-man colossus back there for half of this season. Iofa, again, at the beginning of the season, he signed his new deal. Everybody's talking about that as one of the best signings that Wednesday's made in the summer, including all the transfers, getting him on a longer contract. We missed Jack Hunt yesterday. He's probably been in better form in this second spell than he was in his first spell. He's added a real attacking flair to his game as well and getting forward really well. Luongo in the midfield allows that freedom. So when you bring Luongo in, not only are you getting a quality footballer who helps break up the play, which is something we're really short of, it also frees up Bannon to do what he's best at. Bannon's been having to sit deep, play a deeper role. I hate the phrase, but a quarterback role, I keep hearing that phrase. He's been having to play that role because there's been no one else to do it. Adeniran, Wing, they're more attack-minded players. They haven't, I don't think, got that discipline or the know-how to go back there. So Bannon's been having to do that. Luongo gives you that balance. Windass would be in everybody's starting 11. And Kamberi, I know some people are hit and miss, 50-50 with him, but the truth is he's got, I think it's 4 or 5 goals in 13 starts. And Gregory's best performances have come playing alongside Kamberi. So again, you're not just missing the player, it's what they bring out of those players around them. So we're looking at a first 11 here with possibly 6 players in it who have currently been unavailable to the manager. See, people will talk about Darren Moore having a top 6 squad available to him and that we should be in the top 6 with these players. And listen, I've said that myself. I've said it at the beginning of the season. I would expect this squad to be in the top half of the table. I would expect him to be in the top 5 or 6. you take those numbers out of that quality. When you're talking about a team that should be challenging for promotion, challenging for the playoff spots as a minimum, you're really talking about the quality of the first 11, and 6 of those haven't been available. That has got to make a difference into the thinking. On top of that, I think you could probably look at that and say Gibson, Shadi, Paul, players like that would probably be making the bench if they were available. So that is a lot of players in and around the matchday squad that haven't been available for the Shrewsbury game, the Sunderland game. And before that, no Hutchinson, no Luongo, no Iofa, stretching back, and we still managed to put that unbeaten run together. So whilst I do have some huge question marks about Darren Moore, tactically, in terms of formation, and possibly even about the motivation of the players, I do think these 2 games at this particular moment in time, one either side of Christmas, I do think we have to look at the injuries and integrate that into our thinking about how good a job we're doing and the way those results have gone. Because before that, 12 games unbeaten, not setting the world on fire, because we still had some players out. Like I said, Hutchinson, Iofa long term. Windass, who's a huge miss to any side, probably our best goal scoring threat in terms of getting in behind. But in these 2 games, I do think we have to throw those injuries into the mix when we're talking about our ability to get a result and the various things we were missing. Because we're looking at those games and what we were talking about. Inability to defend set pieces. Well, the previous month, Shea Dunkley's been absolutely fantastic at defending set pieces, been like a one-man wrecking ball machine. Didn't we work out the stats? He'd won nearly 100 headers or something like that out over a 5-game window. You look at the goals against Sunderland, you look at the goal again yesterday, they're headers. Stick him in there, stick Iofa in there when he's fit. There you go. That's one of the problems we've had in these 2 games. The other problem we've had is up front. We've not had that blend with the strikers. Gregory hasn't looked very good at all in the last couple of games. When has he looked good? He's looked good when he's had Canberra around him, ball bouncing off him at times, but he's created havoc around him, which Gregory's benefited from. So without that, you're not just losing Canberra's goals, and he has chipped in when he started games, but you're also losing what he brings out of Gregory as well. And scoring goals has been a problem in the last 2 games as well. So I think you've got to throw those factors in there. Again, look at Bannon. Very busy the last couple of games, having a lot of the ball, but not in the effective areas of the pitch. He's been very deep, having to ping passes to stationary teammates. When he's further up the pitch and he can affect the play more, you see a different Bannon, you see a different Gregory as well, because you've got somebody working around him and trying to play those cool passes. Can only do that when you've got somebody else to sit in there. Luongo. Like I said, it's 2 results, and I don't want to particularly take them in isolation of the season as a whole, but I do think you've got to look at those injuries and say they have affected the balance, the shape, and the options available to the manager.